So Dr. Williamson is from the Jepson School of Leadership Studies. Um, you should take his class. I actually took his Foundations of Leadership Studies class my freshman year. Awesome course. Anybody in leadership here?
Woo!
Have you taken Dr. Williamson's class?
These classes.
See if you will.
Some will next semester through Justice and Civil Society.
Yeah, some of you will be fortunate enough to have it next semester. Kind of goes with the broader set. So we are very lucky. For those of you who may have him, he's a huge UNC Tar Heel fan. Loves Tar Heel basketball, so just have to throw that in there because he wrote a book on it. So I would read it actually. But he's currently working on a book with Dr. Howard.
Yeah.
Eventually they're gonna publish that. So here to speak with us on you ready?
Yeah.
You
Is that a podium or something? I can put this up on?
want a podium? We'll
Yeah.
bring you this big one up here.
Okay. Oh, cool. Wow.
Yeah, it's like
Looks
a
like a
presidential podium.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It's on wheels.
Like at your head.
How many of you are
Gianna.
first year? One? A few. How many are sophomores? Juniors? Seniors? So how many have taken the Justice and Civil Society class? Okay. And the rest of you will eventually, right?
Yep.
Okay.
First years.
So this be like a little preview of that. I like to follow down preview. But the good part is I'm not going to mention any actual philosophers' names unless you ask me to. So it'll be easier that way. Anyway, that's Sahara, by the way. She's 2. You might want to guess what she was for Halloween? What? Pumpkin? No.
Princess.
Sahara, what were you for Halloween? What did Doug say? So she had a good time with that. And didn't have too much candy. Okay. So that's for this afternoon. So it starts a little too formal, but yeah, I figured I was going to do this today and tomorrow. Might as well put a little bit of effort into it. So he asked me to come speak to you exactly about social justice. And how many actually use the word in your daily life? No one? Social justice? You have any idea what it means?
Once in a while.
Once in a while? What do you think it means?
Having basic human rights.
Okay, having basic human rights, okay. Of course, the next question is what's a basic human right?
Yeah, true.
All right, anyone else? Human rights, what else?
What society deems is right or wrong.
Okay, what society deems is right or wrong. And so it's just so whatever society happens to say is right or wrong. That's what justice is.
Social justice is.
You sure?
Collectively.
So what collectively we decide slavery is morally right?
Can you repeat that?
What society has a vote? We decide to enslave people.
Well, for one, it was the more powerful society that decided that.
Okay, in American history.
Yeah, in
Okay.
American history.
All right.
And
I mean,
yeah.
I think what he said is true if you're referring to social justice, not justice in like the grand sense of it, but social justice is just whatever the people deem is correct.
Y'all agree that's right? What do you think?
Actually couldn't hear.
He said whatever. He says social justice is whatever people think is right.
No, I disagree because people have varying opinions on what is right. Different societies have varying opinions on what is right. But like what I raised my hand for was to tell you my definition of social justice.
Okay.
Which is the equal distribution of resources and rights to all groups of people.
Okay. Equal distribution of resources and rights. Okay. So, what's your name?
Mine?
Yeah.
Luke.
Luke. And what's your name?
George.
Okay. Luke and George give us a basically communitarian conception of justice, which is the, and it's true, different societies have different conceptions of justice. So, in some societies, if you're female, you couldn't appear in public with your head uncovered. In other societies, you can. Right. So social, but a lot of people are hesitant simply to say that whatever society says is okay, because they can think of many examples where societies endured practices that we now regard as oppressive. Everything about slavery or racial discrimination, and very likely treatment of women in certain countries. And so most people think that's not quite satisfactory. But then if you're going to look for a different definition than that, it becomes a lot harder work, right? And 'cause like you said, it's controversial. People have different ideas of right or wrong. So I'm glad y'all sort of made the first point I wanted to make, which is that you use the term social justice. There are kind of two mistakes you can make. One is just say, it's just obvious what it is. And sometimes people sort of lazily refer to that as unjust, as if we're obvious what we're just, what we're right and wrong. But that's ignorant. But that's clearly not the case. Clearly, people can disagree, and not because they're bad people. They have a legitimate disagreement over what's right or what's wrong. So another example, if you have a flute and you have 3 kids, one's a really good flute player. One is the kid who made the flute, and one is a poor child with no toys. So who should get the flute?
The one who made it.
You said the one who made it?
But he's not going to use it.
So you give it to the best flutist?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you say the one who made it?
I mean, it's the one who made it because he made it, and it's his choice whether or not to give it to who he wants. I mean, it's a product of his own work, so.
Okay, so if you, how far are you willing to extend that? What if it's this time it's food, and he's the only one who's making food?
It's still his.
Okay, but what if it turns out there are 2 actually have a serious physical capacity and they can't make food?
That's
irrelevant. So you let them starve and let the one person capable of making food eat?
I'm not saying I'd let them starve, I just don't think there's any rule which says that they should get food.
Okay.
I think it should be up to the moral responsibility of the person who makes the food.
Okay, so you'd say that the person has a complete claim to whatever they make,
Yes.
regardless of circumstance.
Agreed.
What do you think, Zach?
Well, I think that it's also society's job to take care of the ones that have nothing, because there could be extenuating circumstances why they have nothing. So, example of the kid with the flute, the 3 kids with the flute, I would say it goes to the person that doesn't have anything.
Okay.
Because the child that made the flute can make another flute. The child that is the best flautist out of the group will probably already has one, because he wouldn't be good at it if he couldn't play all the time.
But who decides who has the use for the food or the flute or whatever your example is?
Who decides?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who does decide?
That's what I'm asking.
I'm asking you. Who do you think should decide? You have a view in mind?
I answered that. I said it's the person
You
who-
said, okay. So you're saying if you don't have the view that whoever makes something gets it, I'm not saying your answer is wrong, because there's a strong moral intuition behind the idea that people should be rewarded for their work. And